I guess we can just start off. If Lee joins us, we'll give him the updates. Since we don't have any newcomers on the call, we'll right away start with the agenda. So I guess, yeah, so my topic comes in first. So I've been working on the service mesh patterns catalog. I've hit a couple of I've hit actually just one roadblock, which I'm currently working on right now. So this is how the catalog looks right now. One thing that I'm stuck on is getting the filters to work. I haven't been able to get the filters to function correctly. And another thing is there's a responsive issue with the model, which I need to look into. Other than that, I was not too sure about the color of the overlay. So I just went with what I thought was looking good at that time. Uh, what do you guys think? Does this actually look good, or should we go to another color to for an overlay?
I think we should move on and focus on the more important stuff. Oh, wait. I say that in the most loving way possible.
I get it.
That's pretty good. Yeah, we have not ever used that green. It might work a little better to your expectations if. By the way, is everything underneath that? Like it looks like the meshery number.
This thing is not underneath it yet.
Okay, it might work to your expectations if you were to use all black and then just reduce the opacity of that black thing and it might have the effect that it might feel better.
Okay. Yep.
But I think part of the yep, because the coming soon in white conflicts a little bit with that icon underneath, making it a little bit. You could leave the what do you call it? The number on top, the meshery number, or the name of the thing, like distributed canary or something. You could leave those exposed just because it's a named pattern. We know what it's going to be. It's just that it's not a complete pattern or something like that. But it's hard to go wrong, I suppose.
Okay. Everything else design wise, does it look okay?
Looks close.
Yeah, almost.
If see it under compatibility, if you were to extend out the logos, they would probably have to say "excuse me" to the import URL button.
No, it would shift down.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so on URL, you might capitalize the R and the L. But okay. Actually, what you might want to do is just say import pattern, just because, or copy link to pattern or something. If that's what we're, gosh, I guess we're going to copy the link to the pattern for now, right? So.
Yep. And I thought of putting it like something like a copy the link to the pattern or something like that. But since on the design, we decided to go for like a hit count over here, that the times the pattern has been imported. So if we have like a huge button, we won't have space for that.
Yeah. Plus
why do we have that card again? I think it's sort of a repetition because we have a picture
right now. It's a repetition. It's actually supposed to be like a different pattern that like it would have a traffic management pattern, but not the circuit breaking one. Like it would have a different pattern just so that we can navigate from here to there directly if we are looking for something else.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, that's the update from my side. And if somebody wants to give me a hand with the filters, because I have not been able to figure it out yet. So yep, call for volunteers, I guess, if someone wants to
Yeah,
get their.
is that I think like immediate the filter effect that you're going for is to stay in page and not refresh, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to stay in page.
Okay. If excuse me, if it were to refresh, that might be that's probably that's probably an easier thing to hit.
Yeah, like we use that in the there's a community members page here, like which is hidden right now. Uh, that is what we do for the filters here. So it's like a different page every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And I don't think that would work if we have like multiple filters going on. That would only work if we do like one filter at a time.
Yeah. You'd end up with just adding the filters in a query string. I mean, so technically it'll work. It's just if you're saying like from a user experience, it wouldn't be as nice. Then, yeah,
Yeah.
actually, right. User experience wouldn't be a. It's kind of funny because you'd almost then have to put a apply button so that people can click
Yeah.
multiple filters and then
So I think it should be like it's a pretty common feature, but I think the problem is happening because we have like like it's a pretty common feature if we just use like HTML CSS to do it, and we do like each card individually. But since we are like parsing the data through YAML, I think it's not being able to get the data from there. Like I think that's where the problem is happening. That's why the Java, like I've written down like a JavaScript function for this, but it's not working because it's not being able to get the data.
Uh, sorry, I don't know, but maybe can I suggest something?
Yeah, sure.
So how about maybe in the YAML file, each of the cards has something like a category. So when you're passing the data and building out your cards, there's like a category attached to each card. So maybe I don't know, maybe like an index, some data index or something. So
So that's
when you're
actually
trying,
exactly what I'm doing.
so
So each card has like a category. Since we are doing multiple filters, I've put in like multiple categories. One is deployment, Istio, then WebAssembly, and then I'm passing that data through. Then I'm passing the data through over here. Yeah, the data goes in somewhere over here. I don't remember, but I put it. But that's basically what's happening. Like there's a compatibility tag in the YAML file, and then that's what happened.
okay, no problems. Maybe I would. It's a challenge I might like to look at and see.
Yeah, so there's a branch in machinery.io called patterns catalog. You could take a look. Maybe I'm missing out on something, I'm not sure.
All right, all right. Thank you. I will take a look.
So yeah, those are the updates from my side for the catalog. Okay, so moving on, we have Shubham with the talks and presentations page update. Shubham, would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so in the last meeting, we discussed about having a table instead of having different cards below each other. So I've tried implementing a table. Yeah, so this is a table. So there are two tables, one for like different talks regarding machinery, and this is a tutorial table for different tutorials on Cypress and documentation of machinery, contributing to different parts of machinery. So this is it. Are there any other things that need to be done here? So what do you think about it?
Sorry. So it says talks and presentations in the top itself, right? That's why you have not written it again. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes.
I feel like Lee has something to say. Okay. Looks great. Good. So Lee approves.
Okay, okay. So, is there anyone else who want to like give some suggestions on this on the table or anything else on this page?
I mean, if you have nothing better to do, then, which by the way, I can think of a few better things for you to do. Like there's some stuff that maybe we should talk about that you should do. But yeah, if you wanted to like go all out and do some different things on the page, you might, it's a couple of thoughts, like you might make the columns sortable. Like I wouldn't do any of the things I'm about to say, by the way. I don't think that they're worth the time. You might make them
Okay.
sortable. You might make the column, the lettering in the column slightly larger, just because it's the column title. You might capitalize the column titles just because, again, it's a label and instead of digestible text. The recording and slides it's one of those things that's like frustratingly repetitive. Okay. So what else would you do? Well, you could put in two icons, icon for slides and an icon for recording. And then people could see, they might see like, oh, okay, this talk has both of the icons. This one only has one. They could click on. Now, when you click on the recording, is the effect to have the modal come up with the YouTube video inside?
No, so it opens on a different tab, the video. It
All
could
right.
be done on the model as well because we have a component for like we have a JavaScript file for supporting those models as well. So that could also be done if that is more suitable for this page.
Yep. Say one more time. That is more sort of a what?
So the model thing also can be done, like opening the video in this page as well.
Oh,
Like
cool. Yeah.
yeah. So
Good.
like
Yeah.
we could either open a YouTube video on a different tab, or we could open in this tab only and like have a model for it.
Two
We do
reasons
that
to
as well.
use the modal. One, you already did the work. Two,
Mhm.
you keep the user on the page.
Yeah, sure.
But three, like if they don't like sometimes, hey, if you really want to watch the thing, beyond just like a few moments of sort of seeing if you like it, if you really get into it, we don't want to prevent the user from going full screen, or it's not like we're trying to hide the ultimate URL. And so, and that won't be the case because it'll be in YouTube in video. They'll be able to do those things, I think. So
So there are some like presenters, like we don't have their community profile, like so we don't have Kanishka's also, so we have hymns, but there is some like we don't have Girish's like community profile. So I'm directing
right.
users like on the main community profile only.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think technically probably. So Garish quit before we made this grid here. You might find that he has a terrible looking profile in meshery.io/community/member/.
Okay, okay. So like should I like direct the user on the main member page, or like is it fine?
Yeah, that's fine. What you did is fine. And the reason being is because we're trying not to point people to the Meshery members, because many of you, like you, Shubham, you're a good example of, hey, are you only contributing on Meshery? Is that the only thing? No, like you've done a lot of stuff on the Layer5 IO site and well, on other sites in the Meshery. And so that's why we have the second one. The reality for Garish as a specific example is like, is we're not doing a disservice to him and his legacy. Like he doesn't care. Like he's a principal architect. He's an employee of mine. He quit like cold, hard. he couldn't make the jump. He was supposed to come and be here full time, but smart guy, nice guy, but couldn't get his balls out of his wife's purse. So, okay. Anyway, yeah, you do. I think what you did is great. And yeah, you might toss it into the modal if it's really easy. And other than that, have you looked at? Have you worked with React much? Are you comfortable there?
On React.
Yeah.
So like I'm not very comfortable, but I've started learning it. So maybe I could like try on that. Yeah.
If you think, yeah, if you do, the Meshery UI is going to be overhauled with an incorporation of Redux into its UI. And so you might think about it.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Nice. Other than that, if not, Shubham, like one of the things that Devopriya and there's another young lady, Prashi, might be looking at, and it's on the SMP spec. It is on that website. We're in need of creating a performance dashboard. And it's going to get a little involved. So there's an open issue.
Okay, I'll try contributing to those as well.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, good.
Thanks, Shubham. So moving on, we have Yash with the call out for the handbook. Yash, do you want to share your screen?
Oh, sorry, I won't be able to because my laptop stopped working.
No problem.
I've given it for repair, so yeah, nothing more progress, I think.
So we were discussing about this on Slack. There were like we came up with a few one or two designs. This is the one where. Okay.
Oh, hey guys, how about this? Like, I don't know. Should we just move on? Like, I'll just take this one and like we can talk about something else or something like, unless there's some new design or something that has been done since Yash has shown his last updates on Layer5 in the Slack. I think like we've talked about this in the time that we've talked about it. We could have created 4 of these things. So like it's there's got to be something else for Yash to do. I mean, Yash, unless you have a strong desire to show your latest ones.
I don't have any because my laptop stopped working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. No problem. We might. Yep. Yeah. Okay. But Yash, so that means on to the next item. Like, well, as soon as your laptop starts working. Like, and I only say this because it's just really painful for us to talk about the same thing for the 9th time. Like, and we're going to like make a comment that says, oh, that doesn't look right. And then Yash can try something that's not going to work. It's going to like, we don't need to repeat history like every single time.
Yep. Okay. So moving on, we have Leonard. Leonard, would you like to share your screen? I'm audible, right?
Yep.
I'm not, I'm guessing.
No, you are. Yep. So Leonard, it's your turn. If you're ready, if you would like to.
Wait, my net was gone, right? You guys didn't hear me?
No, we did. You were just saying it's Leonard's turn if he wants to share.
Yep.
Can you hear me? I have to, please give me a minute. Let me fix my laptop. Let me fix the mic. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, maybe I'll use my phone, but then you can see. Let me share my screen. So I actually want to discuss the change I've made to the UI from the last meeting. So the change that was suggested that I make, which is this image. So I've actually gotten it to look the way Lee suggested. So this is like the image. I wanted, it looks better now, right? Like it looks the way you wanted it to be at Lee.
Yeah, looks good. I mean, honestly, the other way was it was in the design that it was like taller, because what we're trying to do is have content flow from one section to the next.
Okay.
But this looks fine as well. Like the issue that we're really trying to address is one of speed, and
Yes.
the speed is like if it has to deal with the size of the image, and the size of the image has to deal with the format of the image. So
So I'm actually guessing that when this image the site is built, like I can use this thing to check, maybe run against the performance tool and see if somehow it has increased its like if it has been optimized to an extent. Do you understand what I meant? What I meant to?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're saying, hey, you're making some changes. As you make them, you'll like use the same tool to check again to see if there was an impact.
Yes, yes, because right now, like the preview site hasn't been built. So I'm saying that when it gets built, I'll use it and like run it against the tool and see if there's an impact from what I've done. Since I can't really run my local server like and see from the tool.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it might take merging the change and then running the test to see if there's a difference.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, and by the way, if you changed the dimensions of the image, or if you change the format of the image, there probably would be a speed impact, because the file size of the image would be smaller. If neither of those two things were done, then there probably won't be any change in speed, because the file size of the image will still be the same.
Okay. I actually did the both, but then I just have to wait and find out if the changes have made both. So
Gotcha.
so okay, so since I have something on Nighthawk, I have to just show it to you. Um, so the image you sent to the issue that was opened is actually different from this image here. But then I used the previous image, and maybe when you sent the SVG, this is still a PNG, this is still the PNG file. So when you send the image, I would like change the swap out the images, the PNG for the SVG. So right now this is how it looks like the responsiveness. So sorry, I mean, so this is how responsive it looks, and I think there's a preview. You can check it, but there's the preview has been built in the Nighthawk repo, the issue where the issue was where I created the PR. So you can check it out yourself and see if that's like the expected behavior. Do you understand? So you can take that and see if it's the expected behavior. So,
Yeah, makes sense. I'll say this, that the preview that you're looking at, or that oh yeah, I can tell you right now what the feedback will be, which is one thing to kind of hard code into your rule book, or burn into your brain, or tattoo on your forehead. Any of those three things will work, which is as a rule, the rule is always maintain aspect ratio
okay.
aspect what? And Leonard, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Lee.
Oh, okay, cool. If you scroll back down and then you invoke the responsive mode, if you kind of move it into mobile view, so you'll want to watch out for what happens when you when you specify both the height and the width. Values for both of those tend to get you into hot soup when the pages resize, when elements around it resize, but the image itself doesn't. It's statically defined as being a certain height and width, I'm assuming. If you only specify either the height or the width, you will probably find that the image maintains its aspect ratio as the page resizes.
What I suggesting that as the page resize, I should try and maybe adjust the height and width as well. Is that what you meant? You mean?
Yeah, I missed the I didn't quite hear what you said, but the suggestion is something like
I said, is it what you're suggesting? What you're suggesting is it that as the image, like as you you change the responsiveness, like as you zoom in into the site, should I like change the height and width of the image as like I zoom in, as I try to collapse the site? Should I like always change height, or should I have like a consistent like one height and width for the image? That's what I was trying to ask you.
Right. Yeah. So Aditya has some good suggestions. I'll suggest some that there are probably other ways to accomplish what I will say, but this method has worked pretty well for me, which is so one thing is what Aditya is saying, which is try to use unit values that are non-static. So an example is if you use a percentage, not a pixel, not a px, you'll find that you're using a relative measure, the percentage, which adjusts potentially to the whatever size space you have, as versus a px, which you're having to deal with about 1,000 different sizes, because as you increase or reduce the width of your viewport, you know the view is like 800 by 600, 800 by 601, 800 by 602, 800 by 603, and like you'd have to try to like have media breakpoints or other things that are trying to adjust to that size. That can work, like, and that's like media breakpoints are, I hope they go away at some point, because they're a poor man's implementation of saying like, well, let's support it in like small, medium, and large views, and let's go about the painstaking process of defining what small, medium, and large is, understanding that here in the future, we're going to, instead of working with these stupid keyboards and these stupid screens, we're just going to be touching our wall, or like our windows are going to be the screens, and the screens, you can take them and roll them up and like take them with you. Like this whole static media query stuff is kind of stupid. But if you're using a percentage of 100%, like it didn't matter if you unrolled your screen or if you have an iPhone or a Galaxy or whatever. Like, so use relative metrics where you can, not static ones. That's kind of first thing. Second thing is what I was saying before is only define, like in this case, to be direct, like only define the width. And so you have 100% set here of width. That's good. Although, I'm sorry, that's the Nighthawk Meshery logo. And that's why it doesn't get scrunched. But your image, this image, if you only specify the width and don't specify the height, you'll probably be in a better place.
So that's the Meshery logo. That's actually like the image. That's the image. Right?
Very misleading. Yeah.
that's like the That's the class that you're giving.
You're a sneaky man. Okay. And then, okay, got it. Here's another thing is, so you have to fiddle with that. Like if you only specify either the height or the width, you'll probably be good to go.
Right.
Also, there's this radical concept of rasterized images versus vector-based images, which you're probably familiar with, but if you ever have the choice, you always want to choose a vector-based image because it will scale to infinity. Whether that's super tiny or super, super large, it will always be at the same quality.
Yes.
Because it's just drawn by the computer. It's not an actual bitmap. So if you can, you really want to use the SVG, not the PNG, because you can see pixelization on the PNG when you load it.
Okay.
Or
So
when you
can
have
you
it.
Can you send me both image as an SVG? The one you sent wasn't really this image. The one you sent on the issue that was opened wasn't this PNG. Wasn't this SVG of this image. So I wrote a comment there, but then I guess you missed it. So if I could get the SVG, I would of both these images, I could try and see if it will have this thing that you need. You have the outcome that you're looking for. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'll go look. It might be that I probably intentionally gave a different image, one that's probably similar, but is let me share the screen real quick just so that we're on the same page. So here's the repo. Here's the issues. Unequal split of image and adjoining description on page. I think this is the one.
No, this is not the one.
Oh,
this is the first one.
Okay.
Unresponsive image.
Unresponsive image.
The first one, first issue.
Excuse me. Unresponsive image. Get that one. Ding, 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 ding. Oh. Oh no. Well, that's not right. Come on. Come on. So it seemed at first blush, it seems like when I exported, oh, that's frustrating. When I exported, I missed the full design, which is too bad because I would have spent quite a while trying to get that right. So it was this one here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, looks like you did the right thing in assuming that. So yeah, we do want to use an SVG. Like you know what, screw it, man. Like I don't have the time to do it. Just use the PNG but yeah, make sure that you maintain the aspect ratio.
One thing was, Leonard, did you mention with equal to 100% over there, or did the image just take that automatically?
Sorry, pardon, I didn't get you.
When we were seeing your screen, the width equal to 100% for the image. Did you mention that? Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I was hovering my mouse, so I guess we saw it. But then yes, I.
So what happens when you don't because width equal to 100% would just be like the image full size, right? So what happens if you don't mention anything?
Okay, what I did was I had the container holding the image, so I gave it some sort of width and height. So I added the width of the image to be 100% of the container. So I probably could remove it and maybe it will be the same thing, but then I just put it there so it won't have to overflow the container. So I don't know, the image looks big to me, but then, so maybe I could remove it and see um, the effect it's going to have. So,
Yeah,
maybe
you could take a
you have
look.
any suggestion?
If you remove the CSS from there, it would probably, it might just scale on its own, because if the image is not that huge, we don't really need to put any CSS.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
I'll give it a try then.
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah. If you run into any blocks, please feel free to text me.
all right. Thank
Uh,
you.
okay. Thanks, Leonard. Okay. So moving on, Devopriya, would you like to give us your updates on the resources navigation?
Yeah, I'll share this. So this is what I have right now. I've added a collapsible here as well since the filters list is really long. So even I haven't figured out how to filter it appropriately yet, because these categories need like a union of all the resources to show, whereas individual ones we need an intersection. So it's turning out a little more complicated than I expected, but I'll try to figure it out as soon as possible. Uh, like, is design wise, does this look okay?
Yep. I think it looks pretty nice. Just the boxes are not aligned with the text. Probably want to get that middle, like centered to the category beside it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Looks great. That's cool. It's also cool how there's some animation built in as you go to, I think as you expand and collapse. Yeah, cool. Nice. And yeah, you might, what do you, alphabetize or sort, list the filter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, not, oh, let's not waste time giving feedback. Like, it's like, if you get super picky, you see how the filters, the underscore underneath the filters, from where, right there. Yeah. Right where, if you move your mouse to just above the chevron, that's going to expand and collapse. Yeah. If you see how much space there is from there to the right-hand side of the filter. Yeah. Like, maybe you could reclaim some space, but like, this is nitpicking and,
So
yeah.
basically, after I had a rough layout for this filter, I started looking at how to actually filter. So I did not uh, style it later
No,
on, because yeah.
no, the thing is, like, the style looks pretty darn good anyway. Like, like the reality is of what I just said is like, well, yeah, okay. But you might not have, ideally, if you did reclaim space, the two column, those two grid boxes would be slightly bigger, but you might also find that, like, oh no, it's not, because of some other reason. And so reclaiming the space didn't have the excellent effect that you were looking for anyway. And so, I think you have sufficiently eliminated the need for separating or segregating the individual category types, the filter types, with a horizontal bar. I think you've, essentially eliminated that need, because I think it's, evident to people that there's, yeah. So, oh. Yeah, damn it. I think Devilbria has done this to me a few times. It's like, well, I want to give feedback. There's just not that much feedback to give. It's like, okay. Other than, yeah, I think you're hitting it. So Deborah, can you say a little bit about, as you work on the back end of this, so let me explain my understanding and see if you can kind of hopefully correct this. So each individual piece of content is represented as an individual unit inside of the grid. And so this is what you're working on here, this resources area. It is a collection of collections navigator. So you're bringing together any number of different types of collections, the blogs, the news, the events, and so on. And then you're providing people with, you're making the Uber content navigator. And largely the way that you're intending for people to navigate this is by filtering through, the type of thing that they're interested in. It might be that at some point, someone might have figured out how to have a search on the site, which is okay, fine. Maybe there would be a search that people could type in. Can you click on the list view on the right-hand side? I'm just curious. Yeah, the other style. Yeah. So this is, well, I don't know. Like I'm going to mention this, and I don't know how important it is, but it's like, well, that's kind of funny because normally when I use one of those types of filters, usually it's the grid view that's that is less dense. Like normally the grid view is you're able to see more detail. It's basically what we see when in grid view. And then this list view is, at least what I'm used to, is like it's more detailed and compact. And so the value of switching to the list view is like, oh, okay, good. I can see about 25, 30, 40 of these things just, kind of concisely, stacked on top of each other. And then there becomes a real difference between, because this isn't your issue at all. Like, as a matter of fact, you're not even working on this part. And so I'm just making some side comments about the existing filter, because this filter is on the blogs as well, is I think a little icon that more appropriately or accurately represents the view is like, it would just be a single square. You know what I mean? Like, because when we changed it, it's like, oh, we're just showing a big full size square and then another one. So that's something that we could write down separate from what you're doing. That's actually a distraction from, I think, what you're focused on. The reason that it might become a little more helpful based on what you're doing is that if you're working on a collection of collections, like people could be sifting through a lot of content. And so, yeah, a detailed view might be helpful. So something to file separately, something to.
The major problem I'm having with the filters is, since we are also including blogs and news, everything, like all of them in the collections, they are not specific about what product it is or what technology it is. So that is why it is creating more problems for the filter over here. Because right now, since I'm creating the resources, the articles from scratch, I can add these fields over there as well. But if I look into news and everything, these are not completely categorized. So since they are very disuniform, the filtering is not, like, I haven't been able to execute it yet. So I'll try to think of a better way.
Yeah, so then you're getting like GraphQL errors saying that you're querying for null values and things.
Yeah, sort of.
If there's a way to, in your query, to have it, or in your if conditions and things, like to have it ignore that, ignore the absence of information, that would be good. Part of what you're pointing out, I'm probably pointing out the wrong thing. You're probably pointing out that like, okay, great, well, we've got lots of content. When someone filters on, like, none of the content had, other than some stuff that's been created recently, none of it has this label called technology. So like, even though it might be talking about that technology. So if there was a blog post on JWT, even though we have that content, it doesn't have this new label. So there's some retroactive. So once you think you've got what that format is, what those like front matter values are, I can help propagate. I can help go back and add some metadata to those entries to help with that.
That is what I was trying to do, like the blogs collection and everything. The front matter is different. So I was trying to experiment a little bit with the like these fields, maybe add something else so that it's uniform everywhere. So I'll give it some more time. So if that works out, then we'll probably like, go through each collection and add a little bit.
Nice. Makes sense.
Because right now, even the resources collection does not have like which service mesh or which technology clearly stated. So that front matter part will require a lot of work because then all the collections have to change resources, articles, FAQs as well. So since there are a variety of resources, it's becoming a little complicated, but I'm on it. I'll try to think. If anyone else also has any other ideas, you can ping me up on Slack, but I'll try to find a way around it.
Nice.
So that's all the update from my side.
Yeah, I think we would actually have to add those front matters to all the collections. Like I was also kind of, because I was working on the filters on Meshy.io as well, I was trying to like do a lot of research. So they would actually have to have like similar fields. Otherwise, like all of them would have to have similar fields for, otherwise it would run into an error if someone, for example, like just presses on technologies by mistake while they are on blog, and if there's no query for that. I think. Okay.
Yeah, hey, just a quick short story for everyone. As you think about that problem, the non-uniform metadata around a piece of content, if you think about microservices and service meshes, if Aditya writes a microservice and I write one, we might not instrument it in the same way, meaning we might not expose the same telemetric signals or the same observable signals, like what's the health of this my service and what's the health of Aditya's. And so they're non-uniform. So if you're an operator and you're responsible for taking care of making sure that Aditya's microservice and my microservice are both healthy and up, well, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You're kind of in the same situation as we are right now, which is different pieces of content written by different people, and they got different signals, different metadata assigned. Like, well, it's non-uniform, so this is really unwieldy. This is really tough. Well, a service mesh, it's part of the value that it provides. It says any services that I'm running, I will add a uniform set of observable signals of metrics and logs and things. So just kind of an interesting analogy to be made as to, the challenge being faced. So if you imagine that you're like, oh, hey, if we were just on Gatsby, like it would just add all this standard metadata and then we wouldn't have to go back and add metadata. And that's kind of the value. One of the value propositions that service mesh has is like these guys, people have all these microservices, and they're trying to monitor them in the same way. It's like, hey, well, if we just deployed these on a mesh, so as you all go to learn service meshing, there's a good analogy. It's a very direct analogy. So.
That was actually really helpful. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So the last topic for today we have is from Shubham again with the Spanish translation of docs. So Shubham, would you like to share your PR with us?
Oh, sure. So can you can open it as
Yeah,
well.
I'll open it up. So I think this PR, like it was Alonso started working on it, but there were like a lot of conflicts, much
Yeah,
conflict building up. So Shubham picked it up from there. Yep.
yeah. So there were many merge conflicts and there were some more suggestions on it. So like I implemented those as well.
uh, Lee, can you read Spanish? Because I have reviewed it like technically
Oh, yeah.
everything, but
You know what? Yeah, it's a good. You know what? I got to be honest. Like, I don't care. Somebody was asking about the Mandarin or other translations. Is like, yes, please, that'd be great, or whatever, or like, no one cares. Like, until Meshry is really kicking butt and doing a lot of great things that people that are attracting and wooing a lot of users. We have to actually get the English right first. The pages need to be reorganized and restructured into more flowing user documentation, which actually, when we do that, means that any amount of effort you put into the other translations, because we're not using a framework and we're just making, copies of individual pages, those will all have to be restructured as well. And so, like, we were just trying to give a number of Spanish speaking people an opportunity to make an impact on the project because they couldn't do anything else. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean like that was what they were capable of and they wanted to participate. And so we're like, yeah, sure. And so what I'm trying to say is like, too much like it's great. I think you guys are doing the appropriate thing, asking for other Spanish speaking individuals to review. To the extent that it takes them longer than 24 hours, skip it and just keep going and let somebody file a bug later. And this is, it's great. It's great that we have it. It's just, I would give you guys, I just had a direct, there's a service mesh analogy for that discussion that we just had. It's a lot harder to understand though, but it's actually an active discussion that's going on right now. And so I'll have to tell you another time, but it's good, Shu. It's good.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, Lee. So we are 2 minutes short, so I'll just give a small brief about incorporating Redux that's going on right now. So for the V0.70 roadmap, one of the key items that we have for Meshry UI is incorporating Redux and Material UI version 5. Redux is basically, we are using Redux for proper state management. So there is a progress tracker here, which these are basically reusable components, React components that need to be built out so that we could completely restructure the entire Meshry UI. So there are going to be more components written down, but from the ones that are already here, some of these contributors are inactive now. They so there's a lot of work to be done here if somebody wants to contribute to the UI. Like if you guys are interested in working with React, there's a README in the branch called Meshry UI restructuring. This has the entire contributing flow. You guys could go through this. It's almost as exactly as same as the one that we use now. So yep. So that covers it.
Nice.
And if you run into any trouble setting up your environment for this, because there are a lot of dependencies that need to be installed individually right now, so you could reach out to me, Shantan, or Nitish. We could help you guys out there. Yep. So I guess we'll wrap it up then. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you guys on some other calls, or we'll meet again next Monday. Bye guys.
Bye bye everyone.
Bye guys. Thanks, Aditya. Bye.